Good morning. My name is Tony Rupp, and I am co-chair of the Overland Park Chamber of Commerce's Public Policy and Advocacy Committee. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Johnson County Public Policy Council's Candidate Forum for Kansas House District 28. Today's forum is co-hosted by the Leawood Chamber of Commerce. Joining me are Sally Jercha, the Democratic candidate, and Carl Turner, the Republican candidate. The Johnson County Public Policy Council, comprised of the 10 chambers serving Johnson County, developed today's questions focusing on business and community issues. We will start with brief opening statements, followed by our question and answer period. At the conclusion of the forum, each candidate will have time to make a closing statement. Because of the time constraints of the format, we will not have questions from the audience. We will alternate which candidate answers first, and before we went live, we conducted a coin toss to see who would start. I'll ask Mr. Turner to start with his opening statement. Mr. Turner.
Thank you, and good morning, and thank you to the chambers for this forum and the opportunity to introduce myself and to talk to voters in the district a bit about my campaign. I'm a lifelong Kansas City area resident. I grew up on the Missouri side. I graduated from Raytown High School and then earned my bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Central Missouri. And later earned my master's in finance through night classes at Rockhurst College. I've also earned certifications in project management and the Six Sigma approach to process improvement. I'm known as a team builder and a problem solver in the business world, and I'm ready to work with all parties to get things done in Topeka. I didn't grow up with everything that I wanted, but everything that I needed. A good family, great parents, both of them grew up on farms. They instilled values in the four kids. I was the youngest of the four. Strong work ethic, personal accountability, respect for others, and always doing your best. To this day, I mow my own lawn, I do my own taxes, handle my own investments, but more importantly, I do my own thinking and arrive at my own decisions. I don't politicize my relationships. I'm not a political name caller nor a partisan, and I don't shout people down or shut them up. I listen. I believe in fairness and tolerance with people that disagree with me. I enjoy debating ideas and finding best solutions and doing what's right. I love this country. I love what we have here in Kansas, and I'm excited about the opportunity to represent the district and to do a great job for them in Topeka, working with persons from all points of view to find common ground and to find common sense solutions to get our economy safely back on track, restore jobs, strengthen education, improve healthcare, and build a prosperous future for Kansas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Now let me turn to Ms. Jercha for her opening statement.
Very good, and thank you all for this opportunity to introduce myself to voters who I may have not yet met in my district. I really appreciate it. I'm a fifth-generation Kansan. I grew up in Lenexa. I have a husband, Anthony, and two sons, David and Jake, who attend our Blue Valley schools. I received my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from USC, went out to school on the West Coast, and I received my MBA from UCLA. While I was working for ExxonMobil in Torrance, California. We moved our family here for the excellent Blue Valley schools. And I started my career with Burns and McDonnell right after our move. I'm proud of being a civic leader in our area. And I have a record of 12 years of community service to our students and our community in District 28. I just completed a 2-year term as PTO president at our middle school. And I just completed a 4-year term on the Curriculum and Instruction Committee at the Blue Valley School District. I was also involved in our middle school study project that we did about 2 years ago, where we revamped some of the schedules for our middle school students. I'm proud to have started the largest troop of girls in the BSA. And I just finished a 2-year term as Scoutmaster for that troop. We're affiliated with Troop 10. We call ourselves Troop 10G. I'm also a Cub Pack committee chair as well. I'm also proud of my religious education instruction, and I've been our VBS director for 2 years as well. I'm an informed citizen who wants to get things done the right way. I think a responsible recovery from our COVID crisis is important, balancing our health needs and our economy. Education is very important to me, And right now, jobs are critical. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jercha. We will now proceed with our question and answer period, and the first question will be directed to Ms. Jercha first. As a candidate, what are your top 3 policy issues?
My top 3 policy issues right now are making sure we have a responsible recovery to the dual health and economic crisis that is COVID-19. And what I mean by responsible, I mean respecting our medical professionals' advice, wearing masks, keeping our businesses open and schools open safely. So that's what I mean by responsible. I also want to protect our K through 12 education funding. I want to keep it covered by our state constitution. And I want to bring jobs to Kansas. I know people personally from knocking doors who have recently lost their jobs. We have people that need jobs right away. Initially, there was a big crisis in our service sectors. And right now we're seeing a white collar job elimination happening that affects our district significantly. And I want to do this through Medicaid expansion and investing in infrastructure, particularly the 69 highway project. Thank you.
Mr. Turner, as a candidate, what are your top 3 policy issues?
Well, thank you. Yeah, these are interesting times, and my priorities would be to safely restore our economy and restore jobs. I agree that families have been heavily impacted in this time. I'd like also to focus on taxes. I'm talking property, food, income, utility, and the value we're getting for those dollars. And I'd also, my third would be to promote affordable and accessible healthcare choices for all Kansans.
Mr. Turner, the next question starts with you. How would you propose to balance the state budget, and what specific budget cuts would you support? What revenue enhancements would you consider, if any?
Well, as I said, we're in a very dynamic situation. It seems things change by the day. We know that we will have a revenue shortage, and we know the appetite for spending never seems to end. Every day, Kansas families must find a way to cover their expenses with available income. They sit around the kitchen table, look at where the money's going, prioritize needs, make decisions of what to continue and what to stop. And that's the process Topeka should follow. Rather than ask for more tax dollars, my first focus will be on how the current dollars are being spent. Are they accomplishing what they were intended to do? What are the success metrics for those dollars? What are the users of those state services say about the efficiency, the effectiveness, and the level of service they're receiving? So I commit to work with all legislatures to find a best path forward.
Ms. Jercha, how would you propose to balance the state budget? What specific budget cuts would you support, and what revenue enhancements would you consider, if any?
Well, we know that the economic impact of the pandemic is going to be the overriding issue during these next 2 years. We cannot regress and strip K through 12 funding first. We must have our federal government come in to help our state and local governments. So not just the state of Kansas, but the cities of Overland Park and Leawood, they need help. I'm looking forward to crafting a stable long-term budget with Governor Kelly. I think her plan for the next year was well thought out and measured. One thing I am interested in doing is lowering our sales food taxes for our families. And I also am interested in decoupling the itemization of income tax deductions from the federal and state filings. So I am interested in doing that. Thank you.
Ms. Jercha, this question comes to you. What would you do to grow and develop the state's workforce?
I think the thing that we need to start with is a stable business climate to grow and develop our workforce. We need to be able to attract and retain people. And I think that we do that through good public schools and an effective funded economic development program. I support dual enrollment and career certification programming. I support making that available. I also support more affordable higher education. But most importantly, we need to listen to what our companies need in this area and use them to provide the direction we need in Kansas.
Mr. Turner, what would you do to grow and develop the state's workforce?
Um, I will support our schools and our teachers in developing well-educated and well-prepared students that will be the workforce for tomorrow. I support state programs to retrain workers to bring their skills to a level that makes them more prepared and employable, especially in times of unemployment like we have now. When unemployment is low and companies are competing for workers, I see this being better provided by the business, either individually or collectively, as they compete for workers. And I'm thinking of things like apprentice programs or developing specific skill sets that are needed by the business or the trade group.
Mr. Turner, you get the next question. What are your views on K-12 public education?
I'm a big supporter of education. The great reputation of our schools is one of the top things that attract people to this district. Residents are understandably proud of our schools, and they pay a lot of tax dollars for them. About half our property tax bill and half of the state general fund go to our schools. My focus will be on ensuring those tax dollars are being used efficiently and are centered on educating our kids.
And Ms. Jercha, K-12 public education.
Our Blue Valley School District is an incredible asset that draws families and attracts businesses from all over our country. Providing a world-class education and opportunities to our children is imperative. Our home values, our recreation, and our community feeds off the positive impact of this world-class school district. I will protect this legacy. I will never vote to limit our Supreme Court's oversight of school funding, which unfortunately is absolutely necessary in this state.
Ms. Jercha, the next question comes to you. What types of economic development policies will you support to encourage job growth and business expansion in Kansas?
Well, there were a couple of successes that we just learned from our governor in the last couple of weeks, and I've been pretty excited about those announcements. I think our Department of Commerce efforts to focus our Economic Development Initiative Fund on meaningful projects has really paid out, particularly in this time of crisis. I think we first must create a favorable economic climate with good schools, good transportation systems, and higher education opportunities. But I also want to support entrepreneurs with specific policies designed to spur new businesses and create jobs and to lower barriers to entry.
Mr. Turner, the same question to you. What types of economic development policies will you support to encourage job growth and business expansion in Kansas?
Well, I mean, for this and other things, as I've mentioned in my background, I'm a numbers guy. So if you present me with a business case based on accurate data that shows an investment that has a positive cost benefit, a reasonable payback period, there's a good chance that I'll support it. I want to make it easy to do business in Kansas, easy to start new businesses, easy to expand existing businesses. This is really foundational to sustaining economic and job growth.
Mr. Turner, what are your views on state tax policies, being as specific as you can?
I will support tax policy to create incentives, again, for the economic recovery and job creation. And as I've been visiting with residents in the district, I continually hear concerns with the high taxes in practically all areas: income tax on pensions, sales tax, particularly on food, property tax, and excise taxes. You know, residents are willing to pay a bit more to support our higher quality amenities, but we've just about reached the breaking point for many, especially those on fixed incomes. We've got to hold the line, especially in these times when families are hurting.
Ms. Jercha, what are your views on state tax policies, being as specific as you can?
Well, I think we must continue to balance the three-legged stool of income, sales, and property taxes to make sure that we're allocating those fairly and appropriately in our community. I think the Brownback model of cut everything is completely unsound. I do favor local control of property taxes, but I do support additional transparency for taxpayers.
Ms. Jercha, the next question comes to you. What are your views on healthcare policy and Medicaid expansion?
You know, I'm glad you asked this. I think this is one of the things that distinguishes our campaigns the most. I think Medicare expansion is absolutely overdue. Beyond providing health care to 140,000 Kansans, there is an enormous business case to make this happen. And it would be irresponsible not to do this at this time. Not only would it strengthen our rural hospitals, it would expand access to affordable prescriptions and create thousands of jobs in our state. Junk policies don't work. You pay less now and you lose everything when you get sick, and they don't cover pre-existing conditions. So Medicare expansion is absolutely critical. Thanks.
Mr. Turner, what are your views on healthcare policy and Medicaid expansion?
Well, you know, the idea of expanding Medicaid has been out there since the 2010 passage of the Affordable Care Act. And the conversation really has been about implementing a solution, but we long ago stopped talking about what the needs are that need to be solved. It seems more important now to check the box and say, yes, there, it's done, rather than to know it's actually the right solution for the problem. So we can take a look now at other states' experience and see that estimates have been off by as much as 100%. I want to find answers to healthcare, and I don't want those answers to be more unaccountable taxpayer-funded government programs that get bigger and more costly into the future. You look at the history of Social Security, which started as 1% from the employee and 1% from the employer. The best solutions typically come from the competitive market. Customers then have choices, which serves as a check and balance on the provider's quality, their cost, the customer service level, and the level of care. You know, I will work to find meaningful, affordable, and portable healthcare solutions.
Mr. Turner, this question comes to you. What do you believe most distinguishes you from your opponent in this race?
Well, again, as I mentioned in my opening, I bring a career of business experience, team building, process improvement, and problem solving. You know, I'm often called by peers and other folks on my teams the voice of reason. I bring people together, I listen, I discuss, and then I make a decision that balances all interests. I think those are needed qualities in Topeka, and they will serve me well in representing the 28th District.
Ms. Jercha, what do you believe most distinguishes you from your opponent in this race?
Our district residents know me. I'm at their schools, I'm helping their children, I'm at their church, I'm at their activities and in their community. I have a long record of responsible decision-making and selfless service to our community, and I am looking forward to continuing that in Topeka. I'm also the only candidate who is supported across party lines and will protect our school funding.
Ms. Jercha, this is the last question before we move to the closings, and this question is: the pandemic has hit many Kansans and many Kansas businesses very hard. What should be the role of the state legislature in dealing with this pandemic?
Our state legislature should make sure that we have the right tools in place to offer our citizens the appropriate relief from the pandemic. So we should have efficient systems and quick systems to deliver the aid that they need. We should also invest in economic opportunities to bring jobs to our area just as soon as possible.
Mr. Turner, the pandemic has hit many Kansans and many Kansas businesses very hard. What should be the role of the state legislature in dealing with this pandemic?
Well, I think the role should be to listen to, as I said, you know, assemble a team of folks that represent all the various parts of what's going on in our current economic environment. And I'm talking about the medical folks, the business folks, but we absolutely have to be ready to act, to support them. There's way too many vacant business fronts as you drive on the backside of Town Center Plaza out here. You know, so I think the biggest service to the citizens would just be to give unbiased, transparent information. And business people typically are very creative about working through things. As I go into various businesses, you know, the way they've adapted their business settings and the way they go about their business is incredible. So I believe we support businesses and give them the opportunity to adapt their business model to the new environment.
We will wrap up today's forum with closing statements. Ms. Jercha, we will start with you.
Well, thank you all for this opportunity once again. I'm proud of being a Kansan, having my family here, raising my kids in the Blue Valley School District. I am proud of my long record of civic service to our area, and I want to continue the fantastic prosperity that we enjoy here in District 28 with a responsible recovery to the dual economic and health crisis of COVID-19. I will protect our education funding, and then I'll bring jobs to the area. Those are my main priorities, and I really appreciate this time.
Mr. Turner, your closing.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the time today. And thank you again to the Chamber for providing this voter forum. My opponent did say one comment that I take exception with, and that's that she's the only candidate here that's going to protect school funding. There's no basis for that, and that's not a true statement. But I've been walking neighborhoods in the district to introduce myself to voters, and I've enjoyed the many front porch conversations, listening and exchanging ideas about issues and current events. As a voter, I've always looked for a candidate that I relate to, that I had a feel not only for their positions on the issues, but for who they are, what their background is, their character, and what motivates them. That's why I'm knocking on doors and visiting with residents and working hard to earn their support. I also invite voters to visit my website at carlturnerforkansas.com to find out more. I don't attack people, I attack problems. I'm someone that listens to all points of view, decides the best path, and leads. That's what I've done in my career, and that's what I will do as your state representative. I weigh all the factors. I work on common sense solutions to get our economy safely back on track, restore jobs, strengthen education, improve healthcare, and build a prosperous future for Kansas. So I'm proud of this country, I'm proud of this state, and I'm honored to be a candidate in this election, and I ask for their votes on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you today. This concludes our forum featuring Sally Jercha and Carl Turner. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today and remind you that today's forum has been recorded and will be posted on the Policy Council's website, www.votejoco.com. Advance voting by mail begins on October 14 and advanced in-person voting on October 19 with Election Day on November 3rd. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.